Hey guys, Christina Carmody here with Liberty Canine Dog Training. So we just had Penny in Lincoln Park. I'm just on 12th Street, just a block away from it right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to start her introduction to the prong training collar. I have a video up there about, you know, the whole intro to the prong collar and so on with Henry. And we're going to introduce her to hers. And she's going to have a small one, a 2.25 millimeter one, right behind the ears. And as soon as we put it on the dog, the very first time, it's simply going to be a conversation to her about what it means, how it feels, and how to respond once you feel it. So this is already properly sized for her. I'll go ahead and put it right behind her ears. I'll turn it around so the snap is up front. I also, as a safety, since we are in the city and there's cars and a whole bunch of other stuff going on, I'll use the carabiner safety method, where I'll attach a carabiner to the O-ring and attach it to her regular collar. And then that way, if anything were to happen, which it really rarely does, if anything were to happen with the pinch where it would, you know, break or something like that, it would be there would be a safety with the leash attached to the regular flat collar without a problem. So, making sure it's regular fit, it goes right behind the chin. If I need to move it, it's nice and snug, so it feels pretty good, just like that. And then your leash is going to get connected to the D-ring. Hey, what is that? Yes, you want me mouthy? Alright, so Miss Penny is going to start just her basic conversation, and all I want her to understand right now is to follow me. So as soon as she starts to get ahead of me, I personally prefer to turn and walk the opposite direction and gently tug on the collar and the leash, so that she understands as soon as she feels that tug, she's going to see me walk the opposite direction. And that does two things. One, it gives her huge leadership. It's very black and white. Whoa, I felt a little snug. That's because I lost track of my trainer. Gotta keep up with her. The other thing that does is if she is getting distracted by something up above, that's able to turn her away from that, even if it's just for a split second. A lot of times when dogs are starting to get fixated on things, it's really hard for them to unlock from that. So turning around really helps with that. Now listen, if you're working with a trainer who's very proficient in the prong collar and they're introducing it to you, or you see other videos or whatnot, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can just stop and pause and wait for the dog to stop and look at you. You can keep going forward with some light pops and so on. There's a few different ways, so don't fret if your trainer is giving you a different way. This is just my personal preference way of doing it, but there's literally probably half a dozen ways that you can introduce the prong collar in a really nice, gentle way. So what I'm going to do with her, I'm just going to start walking. As soon as she gets ahead of me, light tug towards me, not a whole lot of force, and then as soon as she follows me again, that gets released. So really basic stuff, and I'll just kind of walk back and forth here. So I'll just get started here. Light pressure towards me, and release. Light pressure towards me, and release. Light pressure towards me, and release. And you'll notice when she's next to me, the leash is very loose. I want her to understand that when you're next to me and you're following me, you're great. You're in the perfect position. But as soon as you get distracted and you start walking in front of me, that's when you're going to feel that pressure. And release. Good. And you can start seeing her already kind of realize that as soon as she feels that, she kind of looks towards me, which is exactly what I want. Good. She caught herself that time. Pressure and release. So she's responding really, really nicely to it. Good girl. And you notice, I am literally, there's a dog up here, so I'm gonna stop right now. You notice I'm actually literally using this with 2 fingers. I'm not yanking and cranking on it. You don't need to. The great thing about the prong collar is you don't need to be holding her back for dear life or anything. Now, when I do introduce to the prong collar, I wanna do it away from distractions. So that's why right now I'm not gonna worry about this dog. She's probably gonna react. It's not a big deal. I'm literally on lesson number 1, day number 1. So as this dog passes by, she's gonna react. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm more focused on teaching her the conversational part of training. I'm not gonna worry right now about the distraction. So. All right, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And there's another one, which is perfect. All right. Yes. You just get all the distractions today, don't you? So yeah, if you are training in the city or you're training in a very high distraction area, you know, and it is less than just go ahead and, you know, pause for a brief second while the distraction passes so that you can have clear communication with the dog when they're gone. Because right now I just want her to have an understanding of what the collar means before I attempt to use it, you know, under these high duress moments for her. So when she did that, the prong collar just fell down just a hair. This is a hair too loose for her, but so I'm just gonna lift it up back over her ears right there. Perfect. And keep doing what I was just doing. So she sees that dog up ahead that just passed us. Some light pressure and release. Good girl. Pressure and release. And release. Perfect. So as soon as she's feeling that leash tug, she's doing a really great job right now of turning on the dime. Perfect. And there was a dog passing up the tree up there. Very nice. She turned that time all by herself. So she's understanding. This is great. She's understanding right now, I need to keep an eye on this person. You know, that is my priority. More so than trying to hunt down all the animals around here, I need to keep an eye on the person. So now that she has a really great basic understanding of that, I'm gonna go ahead and move to more straightforward type of stuff. So keep kind of walking. If she gets ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and just pause, wait for her to look back at me, and then keep going in the direction that I was going. So you can follow me with the camera. And sometimes what I might do is instead of turning and walking the opposite direction, if I want her to completely just turn and come to me, I'll just back up and do a little bit of this. And then go ahead and just keep walking in the direction that I was going. So we'll go ahead and do a loop just towards the, not away from the park. We'll go towards the direction that there's not that many things going on. she's had a basic like 10-minute introduction to the prong collar and its mechanism and so on, and she's responding really great to it, I can start asking a little bit more to hit of her for the walk. So the walk, where's the dog? Oh, there's a person. That's okay. So the walk is single-handedly your easiest, most effective way to let a dog know that you're in charge. Because when you're walking with a dog, there's one individual that's leading, and then the other individual is following. There's one leader, one follower. Now, the vast majority of dogs that are out there are the leader on their walks. Wherever the dog wants to sniff, what do the humans do? Okay, go sniff here, you know. As soon as they want to, you know, go and pee on a tree, we let them pee on a tree. As soon as we want them to go say hi to another dog, we let them say hi to another dog. Dogs are, for the most part, in control of the complete walk. We want to flip the switch on that because, like I said, the easiest way to tell a dog that you're in charge is through the walk. So there's some basic rules of the walk that we'll go through. One, they have to be next to you or slightly behind you, obviously. If the dog's walking way in front of you, they're leading, plain and simple. They also can't fixate. So if there's something up ahead and they're locked in on it, just like that, then they're not paying attention to you. They're not following you. So they can't really fixate and really lock in on something. They cannot mark. So if you have, especially if you have a male dog, but female dogs do this too, if they want to stop at every tree or every patch of grass and mark their territory, that's not allowed either. So that is one of the main reasons why your dog can be considerably more territorial in their neighborhood than anywhere else, because you just allow the dog to claim the entire neighborhood as their own, not just your house. So we can't let them mark just at every place they want to. And then the fourth rule is we can't let them sniff excessively. The nose is the dog's primary sense. As soon as they're using that nose and sniffing on the ground, and you saw her do it a couple of times and I kind of pulled her back towards me, as soon as they use that nose, everything else basically shuts off, including following you. So remember, your main purpose of the goal is your dog is following you. Now, if you get to a good patch of grass here and there, by all means, say, okay, go potty, let them sniff, let them go potty, but as soon as you see heel or let's go or something like that, you're moving. And you need to make sure the dog's walking next to you or behind you, they're not sniffing, they're not fixating, and they're not marking. So those are your big 4 rules of the walk. So now that she has a really good understanding of the prong collar in general, we'll go ahead and I'll just require a little bit more out of her. All right, let's go, girl. As soon as she walks ahead of me, I'm going to go ahead and do a light pop back towards me. She's fixating up the head there to the left, so I pulled her towards me. Go ahead and spin her back around. Good girl. Very smart. So this was literally the first time she's ever had a prong collar on her, and you can really tell the way that we're using it is super gentle, and it's in a way that makes sense to the dog. This is all I'm going to do with her, especially on day 1, but outside it, even on day 2, is just introduction of what this conversational leash work means to her, so that she understands as soon as I feel that leash pressure, what it means is to come back to my person, follow my person, pay attention to where they're going. So that's super important. So that's all we're going to do outside for the first couple days. We'll do some conversational leash work with her inside the house, which I'll show you with the place command, because that's another very black and white command that makes sense to them. But you can see that does, really work wonders right off the bat. But as she gets more proficient at it and so on, there's so much more that we can do, and we can definitely use it to work on those distractions, you know, probably in about a week. We don't want to target them right now. We do want to go through a basic teaching phase, so that is very important when you're dealing with a training collar. So that's a wrap right now. Again, we'll probably do maybe 4 or 5 sessions of this with her over the next 2 days. Just to kind of keep going with that, and then we'll build up from there and introduce the remote collar and so on. So that's a wrap from there. Are you going to sit nicely as these people pass you? Huh? No, you're not. There you go. You're a good girl, huh? Yes, you are. Much better. Yeah, we'll get there. Very good. So that's it.